Where am I? Ah, there I am. Hello there, Shrine Runners. Hello, and welcome to the Fox Shrine. I'm Araxis, your host, and tonight we're going to be playing some more of the Great Ace Attorney. How are you all doing? Hey there, Kuro. Hey, Meta. Welcome, welcome. Just finished having some pork cutlets for dinner. Hey to Nagorius, welcome. Got some water and got some Mellowmel with me. Mellowmel being a fruit mead. This one's called Very Dark, using like black currants and blackberries and stuff with it. It's not the sweetest of meads, but I would compare it closer to wine. But I think it's all right. It's not my favorite. But that's just a matter of preference, in my opinion. Let some other people sort of try it, and they quite liked that it wasn't too sweet. So that's what I've got for tonight. And I recently started giving a Star Wars Squadrons a go, which is a first-person like flight sim sort of game thingy. They sort of like fly like the fighters and stuff, like TIE fighters and X-Wings and all that. I was just giving the campaign a bit of a try. Did two of the missions, which were the prologue apparently. Seems interesting. I can certainly provide a picture. I'll provide some. Remind me after the stream. I'll do that for you. But yeah, Star Wars Squadrons, I managed to get that free with Twitch Prime, actually. I'm given the recent Twitch hacks that I'm sure many of you know about. I'm wondering if those sort of like free Prime games are in the future going to be on Vapor or whatever Amazon's game distribution hub is going to be in the future. That's going to make things annoying. But if it creates competition, maybe it'll inspire other companies to do better. Let's hydrate. Let's have some water. Because that's what people think of with hydrate if I've got 2 drinks. But yeah, I was playing Star Wars Squadrons, and it could be an interesting stream, certainly. Certainly made my computer go brrr. I didn't stress it or anything. Like game was running very smoothly, but I don't tend to sort of play high graphics games, so it was rather interesting to see my room increase in temperature to around 30 degrees Celsius when the outside temperature is closer to 23 to 25 or something like that. Insulation and computers being hot. But yeah, let's play the Great Ace Attorney, shall we? Let's get into that. If people do want to see me play Star Wars Squadrons on stream, do let me know, because it's not meant to be a particularly long game or anything like that. So I might be able to fit that in somewhere. Alright. Yeah, part 2 of the trial. Let's go, shall we? Rabble, 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 rabble. Alright. Oh, order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Tweedledee, Tweedledum, Victor and Hugo, Jesse and James. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination? Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov, I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Oh, blimey! Oh, this is, going to be hard work, isn't it? Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windybanks. Oh, well, it was Bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me Lucy lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers. Oh, blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. Oh, you never did nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out? Ho, ho, ho. You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question. And this time, you will tell the truth. You're already on my naughty list. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. We might resume, actually, exiling people from the mainland over to that dastardly continent down under. Oh, no, not down under. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Oh, say no more, Gov, we hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. Alright. Legal entry. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. For nothing. I mean, you had the gunshot, see? It made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Oh, Lummy, didn't give me... Lummy, it didn't have to give me a fright. Oh, we was thinking that the shooter had come out the door and get us next. Well, we stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered. Straight into him at the back. In the black. Oh, well, we couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? Oh, we never even had a chance, did we? So, you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. Oh, that's right, Nash, that's right. It's, more like we, tidied up. Yeah. I've never heard a criminal describe taking stuff from someone as tidying up. I want to use that more often. Now, we weren't stealing. We were tidying up the place. Those objects there did not bring them joy. So we would just working as a disposal service and recycling the objects in question. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. Oh, what you say? Oh, we hardly sound like roughs at all. Oh, we don't, Nash, we don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat? It can't just be a coincidence that these men showed up at Windybanks that night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Especially that tall one on the right with the fish and chips. He doesn't look like the others. He's sus. Alright. Okay. So let's start pressing them, shall we? If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, you know, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? Oh, we ain't, Nash, we ain't. Oh, if we admitted to something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well said, Ringo, me old China. We'd only land ourselves in even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourself in even more trouble. Enjoy your perjury charge. Oh, that's rotten luck, says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? Oh, we never ransacked nothing. Oh, right, Nash, right. More like we tidied up the place. Tidied the place up. Nothing wrong with that. Well, it's just a cleaning service. Sorry. Okay. Made them jump and all the stuff went flying. So what you're saying is... the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter? Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. Oh, this bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright. Oh, blimey, me dead granny would have woken up to that bang. Oh, big brother here screamed like a bloomin' baby. Fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull water. Oh, that got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked them scales on the floor? You've, really mastered working quietly then. Oh, what a racket! Oh, me granny would have been scared back into her grave, a clatter like that. Wasn't she just scared out of her grave? Yeah, obviously you have more than one grandma. Oh man, I like these bumbling buffoons. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. You know what, assuming that their story is the truth, if they did knock everything off and then put it all back, they did a really good job of getting it like close to normal. Like it was only slightly off. And then some. I mean, it was it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam! Alright, he's got something to say about that. Let's proceed from here for now. I'm picture a scene, right? I hear the shot, and the next thing I know, there's a skull rolling around across the floor. Oh, that deafening bang into pitch black. Oh, I ain't gonna forget that in a hurry, I can tell ya. And yet, despite being so scared, you had the composure to tidy the mess you'd made. Eh? What do you mean, Gov? I would imagine most people would have left the rolling skull and fled without a second thought. Oh, you wanna give the skulking bruvs a bad name? Or if nothing else, we're tidy. Well, pardon me for the slander. Pardon? Okay. Think of the shooter come out the door and get us next. Alright, so remember to go back to the second one. So, you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Oh, not on your life. Oh, it went deathly quiet after that, it did. The wind right up me. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? Oh, no way that was opening. Yes, of course. it was locked from the inside, or so we've been led to believe. It was, Gov, it was. From the inside. Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole, or a spy hole, perhaps. Oh, don't ring no bells. Don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we'd noticed anything like that. Oh, we're still cutting our teeth in this game, see? But one day, we'll really cut the mustard. Please, cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body, with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there, unconscious, with the gun in her hand. To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? Oh, that's right, Gov, that's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to. Okay, stuck everything back and then scarpered straight into me. Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, he was a bit hasty there. Oh, he was, Nash, we was. Oh, truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when you lot turned up. If you're shaking like a leaf, don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Oh, good advice, miss. Good advice. Oh, truth be told, my mind went totally blank. Before your mind goes totally blank, make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. Mental note made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we looked dodgy to the coppers or something, so they clapped the derbies on us like winking. And after you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah. Oh, but listen, that proves it, doesn't it? Eh? She does indeed use common sense. There are many sorts of gun safety laws, gun safety sort of tips and rules that you can follow in order to reduce the chance that you shoot someone. And that is true. Like, most Ace Attorney characters are confused. Because, it wouldn't be Ace Attorney otherwise. Hold it! And why should we believe that? What? Well, cause it's true, innit? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused, who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Windybank. Correct? Oh, you've got it, mister! Is that a mosquito? Go away. Down to a T. So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windybank. Yeah. Him back. Go. There we go. Oh god, now it smells like insecticide. Oh no, it wasn't a mosquito. I'm sorry, Moth. I didn't mean to. If you were a moth, I wouldn't have bothered. Is that really true, I wondered? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Runo? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you'll probably laugh. I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something. Something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I have no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. Sorry? People's expressions, the movements of their eyes, the words they choose. You can take all that in, and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you described. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about this testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts. Iris, thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. Alright. So over here, press on this, and fast forward.
Is that right?
Here we go. Also, share your fish and chips with the rest of us.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No. Something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's, probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only, fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Why, Avgov, my Av? Does ring a bell now you mention it. Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still, can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Oh, easy, easy. Oh, we'll get it right this time. Oh, we don't want no coals in our stockings or nothing. That's it. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs. Right you are, Gov. Okay. Just before the gunshot, heard a voice yelling out, "Gimme that gun." The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun. He should have just fired instead of yelling at girl. Aha.
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. Oh, we did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, oh, give me that gun. What kind of thing? A career in acting tragically missed. I mean, actors can be criminals too. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank. On me granny's life, course it was. On his granny's life, course it was. Not even your own granny. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice. Yeah, so that would mean... What? Oh, what, Ash, what? Any ideas? Yes, Consul, indeed it would. Nah, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in all the fancy clobbers giving us the evil eye? If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On me granny's life, it is. On his granny's life, it must be. It's a good job his granny's dead. Or at least one of them. To summarize, then, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you then hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. Make it sound like we're clumsy. Oh, don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys. Wait. Anyway, the way I see it, look, what owned the place was holding the gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Hold it!
That's important info. You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, I bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other? Oh, must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before we shouted out, we heard the geezer say, if you don't want to get shot. Oh, it didn't really sound like he meant it, mine. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that, to protect the articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief. Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. I would ensure that he is on my good list. My nice list. If he weren't dead, unfortunately. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Oh, bet he wish he squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." And it was directly after those words that you heard the gunshot. Oh, it was more or less at the same time, Gov. Oh, give me that gun! Bam! Final thing. Yes, a career in acting very tragically missed. And we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck, before everything went dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tidying the place up. Did we do that one as well? Didn't try to open the storeroom. Not on your life. Because yeah, they're saying that they saw him now. From the inside. Unless there was some other way to get a view of inside. Had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. But one day, yeah. They're saying that they saw them because they saw that there was 2 guns. We have to present the image of them only having 1 gun? That's the full extent of their testimony? The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun. Let me have a quick look here. Because, like, the photos we've got here say that he didn't have a gun. So do we just present this? Well, definitely only 1 gun at the scene.
Objection.
You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? Oh, that's it, Gov. You got the picture? Oh, he has, Nash, he has. No question. And yet, the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection.
You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, Consul. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, too right, Nash, too right. Oh, old geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl, eh? Hardly likely. No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Continue with the cross-examination, Consul, and heed my earlier warning, witnesses. Skulkin's never skulkin'. Okay. Well, we didn't get penalized for it, at least. Which is different from most Ace Attorney games. Normally, if you sort of make a mistake, you get penalized and you don't get sort of unique dialogue. Let's press on everything again in case something new pops up, because that has happened before. Press. Okay, just going through. Rotten apple eater, yep. Nothing new there.
Hold it.
Okay. Wavering voice. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. And that was Windybank talking. Okay. I wonder what we're meant to be... what I'm meant to be presenting here. Because I want to sort of say that, yes, they are able to sort of see inside the storeroom. Because they basically admitted it.
Hold it!
Okay. Alright. Well, let me just go over this again. Okay.
Hold it!
Why should we believe that? Well, you did, because you saw him with a gun. What does the game specifically want me to do here? I don't think I've pressed...
Hold it!
Let's do that one. Yeah, Iris yells at them. Let's go over our evidence. We've got that, obviously. Single round was fired. Single discharge. Got the floor plan. Single bullet. This was in the back. Okay. So if he was shot in the back, this story doesn't sort of work out either. Should have fired instead of yelling at the girl. Yes, we've got Mason's blood there. Gina's representation papers. Autopsy report. What are we wanting to present about this? So we got that. Yeah, Windy Bank. Probably Sherlock's blood. Herlock's, rather. does chat think here? So I pressed everything now. Is there any new stuff with Iris? I don't think so. Okay. Let's just drop a save down. And let's start presenting some evidence. Let's try presenting the photo here.
Objection.
So you're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You've got the picture. Oh, yes, Nash, he has, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description. You what? Oh, Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection.
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand. Oh yeah, Moltooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Oh, give me that gun! Bam! Final thing.
Hold it.
Stay exactly where you are, right there. Yeah? If the crime had taken place as you've so colourfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend. But let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? So in the autopsy report, he was shot in the back.
Take that.
According to their testimony, those two are your favorite ding-dongs. I do agree with you there, Maddie. These Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here are very amusing. I like them a lot. How are you going, by the way, Maddie? The witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed. With the two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. They're proles, so I'm automatically biased for them. What do we mean by proles here? As in like the proletariat? Like members of the working class? Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true... poor boys, working class. Heroes that the world needs. Yep, that's what I thought, just wanted to confirm. It would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. Gina is awesome. I love Gina. Gina Lestrade is a great character. I would probably go so far as to say is my favorite character in The Great Ace Attorney. She's also a lot of fun to like voice. Like there are some characters in this game that are just really fun to speak for, and like Gina, definitely one of them. I think in the first case, yes sir, no sir. He was also a lot of fun to voice because just put on like an exaggerated soldier voice. Yes sir, no sir. So, as I stated before, okay, yeah, Herlock is pretty damn awesome. Not gonna lie. Sometimes I wonder just how much of his bumbling is an act or not. Like sometimes it seems like he's actually sort of letting other people sort of like do the work for him. Like he's sort of seen it. He's deliberately making mistakes for other people to sort of solve. I could be wrong there. He might actually be a bit of a ninny, but yeah, he's pretty awesome. I also like his even when he's sort of not on the case, like his bouts of melodrama and sort of trolling people. Yeah. He's a great interpretation of Sherlock. They've done a great job with it, and I like Iris as well. She's a great Watson. I'm looking forward to seeing who this minor character in the second game might be. No spoilers, obviously, but yeah, we'll find out because we're definitely going to be playing the second game. Because like I've heard people say that the second game is even better than the first game, and so far, like this is one of my favorite Ace Attorney games, if not like my favorite. Like they've done an incredible job with this. There is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Just so you recognize them when you see them? Knives. Gotcha. No problem. Is he going to be the juror from the third case who just randomly sort of had a knife and wanted to stab all the rich people? Because he was pretty entertaining. I liked him. Not him. Alright. Different knife guy. Alright. Yeah. But yeah, these guys remind me of Victor and Hugo from an old cartoon series. I think it was just called Victor and Hugo Burglars of Crime or something like that, which starred two sort of like bumbling crooks in France, if I'm not mistaken, named after Victor Hugo, the author, and they sort of had a similar sort of aesthetic going on to them, sort of like the tall thin guy, the short round guy, the obviously criminal sort of attire, the hats. I'll see if I can find a picture of them and post it in Victor and Hugo cartoon. Oh, it was called Bunglers in Crime. Right, okay. Yeah. Hold on, let me pull that up. There we are. Victor and Hugo Bunglers in Crime. Like, as you can sort of see where I'm sort of coming from here, they're definitely sort of remind me of these two. All right, let's yeah, exactly. Let's yeah, there we go. All right, let's get back to the game. And yeah, I like how they got Gregson getting roped in as well. I mean, these guys totally are bunglers. Let's be real. Oh, he's our long lost third brother. but it's God's honest truth. Oh, he is, Nash. He is. Oh, when he was shot at night. Oh, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. Oh, we saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun? Oh. Some like that might have slipped out. Yeah, I'm from Australia land, where we've sort of got a slightly sort of closer tie to British language. I do get a lot of sort of British comedies, which are awesome. I love the effort that they sort of gone to sort of localizing this into like colloquial sort of like British English and sort of different accents for the different characters based on their sort of class and all that. I haven't had a problem sort of understanding them. Sometimes saying what they're saying is a little bit tricky. Sometimes it's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun. And obviously this guy's just a vampire. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses that on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash? Nah. Order! 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 Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, it wasn't supposed to, Oh, he mad. It would seem that my previous warning were on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Report to my clock tower immediately. You shall be dead on the morrow by exsanguination. Speaking of things that are hard to understand, have any of you tried to watch the original Mad Max? Not the remake, the original one. Now, when I heard that when they sort of brought that to America and dubbed it, I was like, really? Like, Americans can't sort of understand Australian English? Like, that they sort of went so far as to dub it? Like, it's English. Why would you do that? Then I watched it myself. Alright? I'm Australian. Okay? So that's the home of Mad Max. I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying. I desperately needed the subtitles to understand what the hell was going on in that movie. Some of the characters in that were nigh incomprehensible. And even then, like, sometimes I'd have to sort of like pause and sort of like read over what the hell was sort of going on. Talking about Mad Max Drago, the original one. It was done in extremely colloquial Australian English. Oh, it wasn't even Bogan. Like they basically had their own sort of lingo for this sort of post-apocalyptic world. I suppose, like, current apocalyptic, because first Mad Max, there still seemed to be like some semblance of society. Like, it was still pretty much a shithole, alright? But there was still sort of like civil services around. The apocalypse was still going on, in my opinion, for the first Mad Max. But yeah, if you are going to watch that, make sure you have subtitles on, and do not hesitate to pause it to just go over what's being said, because it is not easy to understand. But how are you going anyway, Ada, Drago? Hope you're all doing okay. Oh. Am I to understand that you've replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we, oh, cut out, Nash, cut out. If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us. Who are they talking about? New handkerchiefs, huh? Alright. I just use tissues, so I don't have sort of any handkerchiefs or anything. Oh. Don't spill the mead. Oh, they are sus as hell. Let me make your position here perfectly clear. Oh no. Hopefully you get Ada. Hopefully you get the internet back up soon, Ada. Handkerchiefs for sweat. Honestly, that sounds very practical. I wonder if I should get some handkerchiefs for myself when I have to eventually leave the house, because it's starting to become summer here. I can see it's the middle of spring. It's not super hot yet or anything like that. We have had 1 or 2 hot days, but yeah, summer tends to be really horrible. Honestly, the best solution is just to never leave the house. I'm glad, even though this dude is literally called a Reaper, constantly everyone looks at him and goes, vampire. I mean, he's a vampire. Nothing about him says Reaper, it's just vampire. Like, they could have named him Count von Dracula, and it wouldn't be out of place with his appearance. And considering, like, Castlevania, like, he's just Dracula from Castlevania. He's even got the wine that he throws and all that. Van Zieks is a very vampire name. That's why I give him the Transylvanian accent. I still have to watch that. More Alucard, but close enough. What is a man but a miserable pile of secrets? Have at you! You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, aim's up. You never have guts for garters. I have not watched Netflix Castlevania. I'm actually not someone who's really played any of the Castlevania games or involved in the Castlevania space at all. Like, the most I've played of Castlevania is the horrible Castlevania 64, when I sort of rented it from Blockbuster one time. That was not a good game. I have heard that a lot of the Castlevania games are pretty good, and I have actually considered playing Bloodstained on stream. I never actually sort of listed it up for voting, but like, it seems like it would be interesting. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Yeah, like, maybe I'll play Bloodstained one day on stream. Like, I've got so many damn games I want to play. Okay, so Netflix's Castlevania is basically standalone, or it does a good enough sort of way of introducing you to things. Gotcha. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, It is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Yeah. Basically every Castlevania game is about taking down Dracula, to the best of my knowledge. I think there's one of them where it turns out you are Dracula, or something like that. Like there's a bad end where you, get possessed by him and become Dracula. That one might be Aria of Sorrow. Like the one that's sort of set in the future? Yeah. Okay, cool. I was right. Because I had a friend in high school who was quite a fan of that game, and he sort of told me all about it. I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't end up playing it. I don't. But I thought it sounded quite nice. Yeah, preventing Dracula from coming back or defeat him again. I thought that one was set in the future, rather than in modern day Japan. I suppose it might be the modern day Japan now. Near future, gotcha. Encounter with the victim. Okay, so only 9 years away. Turns out COVID was actually heralding Dracula's return. Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Oh, give me that gun, he bellowed, and he flew at us like he was possessed. Oh, I thought we'd had it. Oh, for an old geezer, look, was strong as an ox. Oh, he chucked me over the counter. Oh, I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the black room. Oh, we never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. So you pulled a gun on him now? So, you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom. Love that pose that Nash does. All the stuff set in 19XX are all alternate timelines now. And I know that one of them is, no longer canon at all, or something like that. Like the only Castlevania game which had a female protagonist. I think that was one of the really old ones now. You, in fact, encountered him in the main part of the shop. Yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. Oh. This changes matters considerably. But hold on, Governor. This time, Nash. This time, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Yeah, it's a shame that, Castlevania is still owned by Konami, right? And Konami doesn't make games anymore, they just make pachinko machines. I agree completely with that, Maddie. Let's just go through that, just with the first game. The first case, the tutorial sort of trial, that one is incredibly long. Like all the other sort of tutorial trials in Ace Attorney ones have been incredibly short. Oh, that one is just, whew, damn. And it's still got stuff that is relevant, later on. It's not isolated. Okay? The second case here, That doesn't even have a trial scene. That's all just sort of like set on the ship. There's no courtroom. You're just on the ship, sort of proving yourself again. Like, obviously they've killed your sort of assistant at that point, because Ace Attorney games like having some sort of twist happen with your first assistant. But yeah, nothing. No trial at all. And again, like some reference back to here, because we've got that Bolshevik guy as a juror, and I'm curious to see where that's going to go. Third case. Your guy actually done it. He actually did it. The case doesn't actually get resolved. You don't prove his innocence or anything like that. Like, all the evidence sort of gets tampered with, and like the judge basically says, like, all right, everything's sort of screwed up. We're calling a mistrial on this. For now, we're going to say not guilty. We're going to have a look at the evidence and try again later. And then he dies. Oh man, like so much about the great Ace Attorney. Like, it's really well done. And obviously you can play it alone, but as someone who has played all the other sort of games, I haven't played the Edgeworth ones, but I've played all the mainline stuff. I've played the 3DS ones. I've played Apollo Justice and all that. Like the way that it sort of messes with all of this sort of thing, like it's amazing. Oh, fourth case. No one actually died. It was an accident. Like someone got grievously injured, certainly, but she didn't die. That was the third case. That was the fourth case. I mean, someone still died in this fifth case, although, like, yeah, I suppose it's like compared to some of the other sort of final cases. Yeah, the lead up is... I wouldn't even necessarily say that. Like, I feel like this is leading up to some treasonous stuff. Like, let's go over this again. Like, this is this newspaper here about the government corruption. We know that Dracula von Vampire here doesn't normally get involved in murder cases or anything like that. He specifically, like, only sort of gets involved in, like, the highest of the high cases, and yet he's sort of come out of retirement for these ones that you're involved in. So they're probably sort of all sort of interconnected to some sort of like geopolitical conspiracy sort of stuff, which again, not an Ace Attorney sort of thing. Although let's say, I suppose there was the military secrets in like the military sort of spy in the one with Athena, I think. That one had some good sort of twists right there, but again, it wasn't sort of like as sort of interconnected as all of these ones are seeming to be. And yeah, like so far it's been this has been a wild ride. I'm really liking how they've gone about this, and I am so glad that they finally decided to release this in English. Like I knew nothing about this going into it. I just knew that it was an Ace Attorney game. I like Ace Attorney games. I want to play it. Was disappointed that it wasn't released in English, and then they sort of announced it, and a few months later it sort of came out. I was like, yes, gotta play it. And oh man, they've knocked it out of the park. Both Capcom with its story, and the translators with how they've sort of localized everything in a really entertaining way. Like, a lot of people give the Ace Attorney games crap for over localization, and I can sort of see the arguments. Like, certainly, like they've sort of said it in America and all that, la-di-la-di-da. But like, it still makes for an entertaining game, and like like the puns with the names, like through sort of like changing them from like the original sort of Japanese names into something that English viewers would sort of understand. I really appreciate that. I love the jokes that they sort of have in the names. It would be interesting if they did like a simultaneous release or something like that. One where it's super direct and one where it is I like the way that they sort of do it. Like I would certainly be curious to sort of see how that is, like different sort of experience that you sort of get. Yeah, and most cases are mostly self-contained in the main series. Whereas these ones, like so many connections, it's pretty awesome. Alright. So we just got inside the gaff and heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Oh, give me a gunny, Bello. Oh wait, hold on, we already did this. I got distracted by talking. We can press people now. That subject shares with Investigations 2. Wasn't Investigations 2 didn't get an official English release, if I'm not mistaken. That one, I think did that one have a fan translation?
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank. Yeah, I'm not gonna shit on fan translations. I've read a lot of fan translations. Like, some of them are better, some of them are worse. But they're not fucking machine translations. Those ones are shit. Toss them out. Like, fan translations, you're gonna sort of get like a more sort of raw experience. Like, they're not necessarily sort of as skilled as a professional. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But ultimately, they're not doing it for pay. They're doing it in their spare time, and probably don't have an editor. But like, I very much appreciate when there is like a fan translation of something, because that's a lot of effort. I really appreciate what they are sort of doing here. Sometimes I wonder how my life might be different if I hadn't read the fan translation of Fate Stay Night, because like, sort of reading that, like, got me into visual novels in the first place and sort of wanting to read more of them. I actually ended up sort of like helping on some official visual novel releases, like as a beta tester, and like sort of like helping sort of like correct typos and all that. Basically, goes to the translator first, then the editor, then the QA team with the beta testers and all that. And I was sort of there. Helping out with that, and like, aside from sort of earning me some money, I sort of learned a bit more about the process, helped release some games, and yeah, just definitely sort of value that experience. And being able to put that on a resume actually helped me get like a completely unrelated job, like just because they were like, "Oh, you know how to use computers? Sure, we'll give you a shot." Yeah, that was fan translated Fate Stay Night. I know that one has some mistakes, but it definitely improved my life in a very real and tangible way. And I'm still a huge fan of the Fate series. Like, I play Fate Grand Order every damn day. I've got so many 5-star servants, it's ridiculous. I would still like an official English release of the visual novel, however. And like an official release of the Tsukihime remake, an official release of Witch on the Hill. Type Moon, please. We would like some official English releases. I'm guessing the reason behind it is that Nasu probably wants more direct control over a translation. Going from a recent interview that he did, like, he's basically sort of said, like, I personally don't have time to sort of like help. So I can respect that. He doesn't want to sort of like just give it to the first person who asks and leave it alone. a translator being able to talk with the original creator about what so and so means, like that definitely helps bring a stronger translation out. This official release is mostly about as strong as the fan translation. Oh, okay. DGS? Is that the group that translated like this one? Oh, internet's back. Nice. Wait, hold on, what's this? Oh, soundtracks for the game. Right, okay. One weird thing about it was a misstep is that it turned down the intensity of the racist rhetoric from the English to the Japanese characters. It's definitely still there. I can understand why they might turn it down, because a lot of people sort of reading this would read it even more poorly. Like even with the turned down version, like I am like very much sort of turned off from a lot of the characters who dismiss like the Japanese characters and show their racism. I feel like in this version she did. Like, I think she might have actually called them barbarians. The English lady from the case one. Oh, she was definitely racist. And I think it sort of came through enough. I think it's enough to sort of like show what the character is like without actually turning off the audience. Because as a part of translation, you do have to consider who you are translating the game for. Now, in Japan, like I imagine they would sort of be able to handle this more because they sort of like realize the discrimination that sort of existed back then, and since it's a Japanese game itself, like it's not going to sort of come off as poorly, I guess. Whereas in an English market, like everyone basically hates racism, okay? Or at least like everyone's sort of sensible, and like even sort of like the slightest sort of like hint of racism is enough to sort of turn people off. Daigyakugen Saiben. Gotcha. I see. Yeah, no problem. If that's what you're used to, that's what you're used to. Turnabout courtroom. What was I sort of saying? Yes. And primarily English-speaking audience is going to be a lot more sensitive to racism. And what they sort of pick up from the characters is going to like shape their sort of opinion of the character. Okay. We can sort of look at characters like Ashley from Mass Effect, which is another game that I'm sort of playing on the weekends, and like her racism is enough to sort of like strongly polarize people in terms of who she is, her character, and all that. So to go sort of full on racist with a lot of the characters in this could very much provoke a very strong disgust reaction from who they're sort of marketing this game to. They haven't sort of gotten rid of the racism. It's definitely still there. We're able to sort of see it for what it is. If they had have gone stronger, while it might have been more true to the original, for the audience, it might have been not as good an experience, and it might have actually been a less accurate experience to the Japanese audience, because it would sort of provoke more hatred for the characters than the Japanese audience would have gotten. Something important about translation is it's not about sort of translating it literally. It's about it's about trying to have the audience get as true and as similar an experience as the original audience, and that might necessitate changing something so that they're not as literal, that they've got a slightly different tone to them, that, like, because of cultural differences, will provoke different reactions than it would in its previous one. So that's why you sort of change jokes around. That's why you might choose to sort of tone down racism, because yeah, like as you can see, like, you did get sort of reviewers sort of like being turned off by the racism, and this is the toned down version. Like, I definitely sort of see the racism coming on, like, fairly strong, in my opinion. Like, people just sort of like casually sort of saying things about Easterners, Japanese folk, and all that, and like that's wrong. If it were any more, like, that would be that possibly give a different experience versus the Japanese crowd. But that's not to say that your opinion isn't valid. However, Maddie, there are definitely like, it's all a matter of sort of considering who you're translating for, and as a lot of translators and myself like to say, translation is more of an art rather than a science, because of, like, basically sort of how words work. You can't get a direct translation. Anyone who sort of says this is lying and doesn't understand what translation is. Basically, like, every sort of word, like, you can't translate word by word. You've got to translate the entire text, because if you just translate word by word, you get a machine translation, and that does not work. Alright, let's sorry for the tangent. Hopefully that entertained people. Hopefully you understand where I'm sort of coming from. We'll get back to the game. Let me have a quick drink. I sort of wore myself out a little bit there. All right. Yeah. Like, that's one of the things about the game. Like, the racism isn't, like, overblown. Like, you can see that the characters just sort of innately sort of feel that way with their choice in language, which I think sort of like says something about the writing as well, because like, it's there, it's ever present, but it doesn't feel like over the top sort of parody or anything like that. Yeah, it's just part of them. Yeah, and there is that risk where if you sort of like have every sort of second line of theirs be a racist remark or whatever, you run the risk of everyone sort of coming off as a racist parody. When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank? Oh, who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. Oh, we was keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gaff, obviously. But we never thought that no one was going to come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom? Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. So, it would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Guinea must have been in there at that point as well. But that doesn't make sense, does it? If Guinea had threatened Mr. Windybank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint, then why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? Oh, I don't know. Did you see the accused at that time? Oh, what? Moltula? Oh, couldn't tell ya. Oh, no, wait, Cobber? Oh, we had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Okay, yep, give me that gun. Flew at us like he was possessed. Oh, I'm actually, like someone sent an appeal to me on Skeb, actually. That they sort of like saw that I was sort of like streaming Great Ace, and that they were a fan of the Ace Attorney game. So I was like, you know what, I'll commission that person. I'll send them a request, and I asked them to sort of like draw me dressed as whatever sort of Ace Attorney character they like. And so I guess we'll see sort of in a few weeks or something what comes out of that. I'm looking forward to that one.
Hold it!
Okay. You mentioned that Mr. Windybank shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windybank wielding a gun at the time? Oh, was he ever? Oh, blimey lummia, a great ugly barrel he had. Pointed straight at me frontispiece. I can understand that, Maddie. They don't come across as strong as the Phoenix Wright ones. Like the Excuse Me, for example. I'm fine with it, but they're not as emotive, I guess, as the Phoenix Wright ones. But yeah, if you're used to the Japanese one, I can totally understand them sort of not sitting right. I know that whenever I sort of like watch something like in another language, I'll sort of like be like, oh, this doesn't sound right. I've heard it in another language before, and now I don't want to watch it in another way. Like I end up watching like Dragon Ball in English just because I'm so used to it in English, for example. I do watch it with the subtitles for the Japanese version at the same time, however. Just so I can sort of like see the difference between what the dub is saying and what the Japanese would have said. It ends up being quite interesting, actually. Sort of seeing how they've sort of like adapted each scene for a dub versus subtitles. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with the gun at that time. Is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. Oh, then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. Oh, it was bedlam. Oh, I didn't know who was going for who. We were clearly all going for each other. Oh, like Nash said, we thought we'd had it. I mean... Well, he says, yeah, that would be difficult to translate. I can absolutely sort of imagine the translators sort of like getting stuck on that for like weeks or something, trying to sort of get that right and sort of be like, we'll just go with this. It's the least bad option. Yes, I noted that you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony too. Well, yeah, of course we did. I knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull on her. I got tangled in some marionette, knocked over a picture frame, knocked them scales on the floor. So, in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter? Well, oh, big bruv here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I can tell ya. And the old geezer pinned him. Chotto! Ah, okay. That makes sense as well, considering, like, the only time he says "excuse me" or "chotto" is during the jury summation scenes, where you're basically on death's door. The jury is all said guilty, and you're desperately trying to convince them to change their mind. I can definitely sort of see why. Yeah. Oh, he did, Nash. He did. Oh, if you hadn't been there, Oak would have flattened me like a bloomin' pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. Or says that when pressing another witness on another witness's statement, there'll also be a There is a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. And the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street. I'm curious. Do you happen to know if the Japanese audience, if they sort of had the same reaction to Van Zeeks as everyone in English? Oh, this guy's a vampire. They ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Oh, poor Mr. Windybank. He did everything he could to protect his shop. Okay, pulled a gun on him, legged it through that door into the back room. Okay, so you ran into the back room. Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank? Oh, no. Never. I was just, you know, looking out for me bruv, weren't I? I was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then, the man fled into the storeroom, and you pointed your gun at him, is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shoved me away and then ran off through that door and shut himself in. There's something about that last remark that doesn't quite ring true. Wonder why Mr. Windybank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Ah, yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Windybank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. Oh, Takoyaki Tai! Thank you very much for the raid. How was your stream? I do appreciate Taco Raid. Ooh, Ghost Trick! Sorry, I got you there, Ada. I got you. I win. I haven't played Ghost Trick, but I've heard a lot of good things about that one. Apparently it's got like a really good dog in it or something like that. Yeah, to those who don't know me, I am Araxis Denacia, your revolutionary bartender, and we're just playing some great Ace Attorney. We're currently dealing with the most incompetent criminals in the world. Yeah, I've never played, but like basically everyone who has says that Missile is best dog. Like, just in general, best dog. I'm not sure why, but apparently Missile is best dog. Okay. Did that one ever get a PC release, or is it just on... What was it? DS? What was Ghost Trick on? Was it on Game Boy? DS and iOS. Ah, damn it. Well, that rules me out, I guess. I mean, I've got a DS, but... yeah. Oh, healthy arrow. Alright. To those who don't know the rules, whenever someone redeems that, you've all got to stretch and drink as well, okay? Alright. So, let me just have my drink. I'm not entirely certain. I don't know the entire history of Ghost Trick or anything like that. So I can't sort of comment on it. Okay, let's stretch a little bit. Okay. There we go. Okay. Oh, and I want the AC on a little bit as well. Just have it on for a few minutes, I think, until it sort of cools the room down a little bit. So I'm feeling a little bit warm. Okay. Oh. And it only returned to Ace Attorney with this game. Ah! I did not know that. Who did the games for like with like Athena Sykes and where they sort of go to magic sort of death victim land? Who did those ones? But yeah, this game is so good. Nope, that's alright, Ty. Go to your doctor's appointment. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a good rest of the day now, but you're probably going to sleep? I don't know. Whatever. Do your thing. Thanks for raiding. Hold on, let me reorganize myself. Okay, there we go. Yeah, forced him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windybank's hands again? I have no idea, but that is strange, isn't it? Takeshi Yamazaki was the writer and director for Investigations 1 and 2 and 3DS games. Okay. Apparently Investigations games are pretty good, and I personally did enjoy the 3DS games. They did have some weak cases, admittedly. But like, so did some of the other Ace Attorney games. Like, you can't, like... Is this the only one where I've liked every single case? Let me think for a moment. I don't know, possibly the first game I liked every single case as well. Either way. Okay. When was Great Ace Attorney sort of released in comparison with the 3DS games? Let me have a look. So initially released in 2015. Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright was also a good game. That was a lot of fun. 2015, 2017. Investigations 2009 and 2011. Oh, A Spirit of Justice was 2016, huh? Okay. I didn't realize that. I could have sworn that one was after the Great Ace. Alright, never mind. Fair enough. Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice were pre-return. Okay. easy to remember when these games come out. If you're as into the soundtracks. Yeah, I suppose the soundtracks would be organized by date. My favorite soundtrack is probably the jazz rendition of Fragrance of Coffee. That one is incredible. That was just so relaxing. Put that on with Rain and Fire, and like you'll instantly get yourself a glass of whiskey and a pipe. Like, they're so cool. Not that smoking is cool. Don't smoke, people. This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Oh, look, the point is, me and me brother here. Oh, that's right, Nash. That's right. Me and me brother here. Okay, never had anything to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear. Yeah, I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room. Okay, so we'll keep that one in mind. I'm not sure. It was included with the Ace Attorney Trilogy Deluxe Edition that came out on PC. Along with a bunch of other sort of like remix sort of soundtracks. That was just really good. But a lot of the Ace Attorney games have great music regardless. That's just the one that sort of stands out to me personally. You say you had nothing to do with it. Oh, nothing at all. Oh, nothing, Gov, nothing. Oh, old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Oh, locked it was, from the inside. Oh, we know it was, because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one, good and strong. I wouldn't budge an inch. So, in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. One other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. DGS 1 and 2 are your favorites? Oh, 2 is your favorite. A lot of people think that 2 is one of the weaker ones, interestingly. Although 2 does have some really awesome stuff. It's got frickin' Franziska von Karma. It's got that sort of like that final trial is really notable. Oh, you're counting DGS 1 and 2 as one game. Okay. Why are they one game? The two are incomplete without each other, just because of how they sort of progress. It would indeed appear so. Probably my favorite one is the bonus chapter from the first game, the one with Damon Gant. That one was a really good case. What say you to that, Council? I don't know. Oh, what we yeah. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank? We're not gonna say anything here for now. He's right, Gina's the only one. There was no one else in the room. With an attitude like that, Bruno, it really will be all over. Now a 10-year-old is reading the expression on my face. Well, just don't have that many. Wide-eyed, sweating, smug, and happy. That's about it. Surely there's more than that, isn't there? Anyway, I think you might want to consider some other possibilities here. Or rather, I think you have to. Otherwise we won't get anywhere. Or rather, you won't get anywhere. I'm just here for moral support, remember? And it's at times like this that I really appreciate it the most. So, that's all these brothers are willing to reveal this time, is it? They're still hiding something, don't you think? Yes, I'm sure of it. Not just a minor detail either. It's almost certainly because of those two that poor Mr. Windybank. Well, you can't let them get away with it, Bruno. I know. But I get the feeling that there's even less evidence at my disposal this time to prove that they did it. Oh, we've come so far. Now it's time to finish them off. Well, I'll do my best. Okay. Now I really should, like... I'm just having so much fun talking with chat that I end up getting distracted, so I should be paying more attention to the case. Okay, so we've got the option to suggest an alternative person here. Do we have anything that we want to present here? Because this was... There was certainly some suspicion going on here. We wasn't intending to shoot him. Secret antagonist coming into chat and way too chatty to service us. I appreciate it, Maddie. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he fled into the storeroom. Shut himself in. Yep, okay. I don't think we can present something there yet, so... Let's just... Yeah, okay. Let's go over here first. We've got that there. It's probably Herlock. But it's still unknown, so... What if he had... What if he had shot them? Then the gun was empty? Wants me to say Herlock and Wilson and all. Well, the reason why they've got to do that is probably because the Holmes sort of institution is... Yeah, the whole sort of copyright thing. They tend to be litigious. Yeah, there wasn't any blood on the gun. I mean, it would make sense if he were running into the back room, and you shot him in the back. Ah! Okay, cool. See you, Kuro. And we do know that they fired this gun. However, this one also only fired one shot. So, depending on how many shots were fired, unless they sort of switched guns at some point? No, that doesn't make sense. Unless Windybank accidentally shot Herlock. Yeah, I've been told that Gregson is also a Sherlock name. Okay. Masons. Put this here. That was then. That was after. Bolty gun. Like it through the door into the back room. What? Okay, hold on. Okay, so the issue that I was having was that I was wondering how many sort of guns got fired, okay? We currently have 2 guns, right? We've got... I've got Windybanks, which has fired a shot. We've got the Skulkin brothers, who have fired a shot. But what if they had another gun, because there's 2 of them, and we haven't found that one yet? That could mean that one gun shot Windybank in the back as he was sort of like running into the door. He sort of closed it on the way and then collapsed. This gun got fired at... possibly sort of got fired at them. And then they fired this gun at Herlock, which... Though, again, this is sort of down and up. So... But obviously, Ringo is rather short. Though Nash is saying that he pulled his gun on him. Yeah, I did pick up on that one. I liked that. Nashi is also a specific type of pear, I believe. I've eaten Nashis before. They're nice. But yeah, Ringo is definitely Japanese for apple. Let's just I hate not feeling confident. Okay, let's just go over here. Oh, hold on. That's I was meant to press. I always make this mistake, especially because when it's at the end. Okay, so press. Nothing to do with it. You were on the ground, and you could have shot him. Okay. there could have been Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. They totally did. Probably the localizers too. What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night. Apples and pears. One thing that I found amusing, in the fourth case, the one with the Japanese writer, like, yes, he's based on a real person, but appearance-wise, he looks like Edgar Allan Poe. Not the original Japanese guy, he looks like Edgar Allan Poe, that particular writer, like a completely different writer. I found that amusing. The course of this trial changes completely. It did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windybank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In this case, let us return to this plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So, Ray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of two conundrums. Two, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed. Namely, from what location did the victim shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Bruno? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. I think it would have been over here. And he would have been shot over here, collapsed in there, and Gina could have closed the door. Or he could have closed the door in his sort of like dying moments. I suppose he was shot in the heart, but yeah.
Take that!
Defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? Over here.
Take that!
The defense believes that the victim would have been in this position here. What your answers in fact show is that your own position is as absurd as those you have indicated on the plan. What are you saying? What Lord Van Zieks is saying, Counsel, is that your answers are clearly flawed. Really? Ah. Well, maybe he was in the room at the time, I guess. So the questions are, from where did the culprit shoot the victim? And where was the victim at the time? Well, I don't see why we can't show that someone other than Ginny could have done it in the storeroom, do you? Yes, that's the right way of looking at it, I suppose. Someone other than Gina in the storeroom. What's the best move here? Should I try again? Or gather more information first? Keep on trying. Vince would like to point out the locations again. Well, well, you appear to be a glutton for punishment. So now, time for some clarity. Yep, okay. In that case, what if we say that the shooter was here and over there? Because they were sort of like fighting on the counter, right?
Take that!
Shot the victim from this location here.
Take that!
They seem to have liked that. The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So, you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him, and he legged it through that door into the back room. If Mr. Windybank ran away through the door, you have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment, when the victim was fleeing for his life, that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Oh! The back room. Gotta have an echo for those scenes, right? Unless it's new dialogue. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of the Scotland Yard coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Oh, poor man. Shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Ah, of course! He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would still have entered his body on an upward trajectory. So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? Not at all. Gina was there. Ah, but what if someone else locked the door? Yes! There's someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. One of the things I like in this is sometimes when he sort of like slams the counter, it doesn't make any noise. Usually when he's sort of like really sort of scared, and it just makes like a slapping noise, and he sort of looks around. That always sort of cracks me up when that happens. Is that so? Oh, very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. He is very expressive. In the scenario just described, The defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? Gina.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. 3 different slammies, a wimpy one, packed and forceful and confident.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I am inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Obviously, she's scared of being shot by the people who just murdered Windybank. Yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. Yeah, that's right. Everyone knows that women aren't as intelligent as men and have no sense of self-preservation. Therefore, why would she act sensibly in a time like this? Obvious sarcasm. But of course Skinny would have locked the door. Well, I mean, if they're being racist, they're sometimes sexist as well, right? Generally not as much as the racism, but there was sort of like some stuff where, like they were being really rude to Susato for being a woman. But of course Skinny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Skinny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those 2 burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh yes, obviously. I am a dumbass. Before the 2 brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windybank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Iris is the only smart person in this room. Mr. Windybank would have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? Oh, that's us, bruv. If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Iris probably would. Iris is a true international treasure, a global treasure. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. That also sort of gave him his chance to sort of set off the silent alarm. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windybank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. And what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windybank. As soon as that thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it. Okay? In order to save her own life. It is definitely sort of like some characters who, like it will never sort of explicitly sort of say it, but they'll sort of exhibit some sort of autistic tendencies. The character who sort of comes to mind for me is the drummer for for pastel palettes in Bang Dream Girls Band Party. Because like she's sort of like her sort of like focuses on like sort of like musical instruments and like musical sort of hardware. She's got a tendency to sort of like get sort of like overly fixated on it. She doesn't know how to sort of like respond to people sometimes. She ends up sort of like being she likes sort of being in enclosed spaces. Like there's like a comic where she sort of like ends up sort of like going to sleep behind the musical equipment or something like that, or under a desk or something. And so yeah, she sort of like comes across as autistic to me. I'm not familiar with Entrapta. Let me look that up. Ah, She-Ra. I haven't watched She-Ra. I've heard that that's pretty good. I think my brother was sort of talking about it at one point, and he sort of liked it.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. Okay. I'll have to give it a go. I say this about a lot of things. I'll have to give it a go sometime. I say, as I've said this about so many sort of things, like I genuinely mean it. But there's just so many things and not enough time. Oh, we ain't, Gov, we ain't. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on. We'd never shoot no one. We shot Holmes. Okay. That sounds nice. I think a lot of people dismiss emotional intelligence a lot of the time, unfortunately. And I sort of dismissed it a lot myself, actually, until I sort of got to university. I personally think now that like both logic and emotion, like you should value equally. Now there might be times where one is more appropriate over the other, but like people who sort of say you gotta repress your feelings, you gotta focus only on the logic of the situation. Well, you're a fucking arsehole is what you are. Emotion, like, is a very strong like driving factor for someone. Yeah. Well, just look at frickin' IQ tests. Like they're designed for basically like wealthy white males, essentially. Yeah. I don't have to sort of tell you that. You know. Like, like it's all sort of like artificial and sort of like it's a way to sort of give bragging rights and like say that X person is less intelligent in some way based on a set of arbitrary sort of standards that haven't been proven in any way.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windybank's murder. Although we're going to get questioned about the gun now. Where does this leave us? Oh, you and me. Mean to say that it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all? I should have known it was those three brothers. They look shady as a dense forest. Oh, that was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know. First time ever. And probably the last. And probably only for an instant. When they sort of bring up the other gun. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not... An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zeeks? I, myself, find the defense's argument most persuasive. Oh. I enjoy it as well. Everything about this is over the top, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. I dare say such chickenry is the bread and butter of the street performers in your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? Speak English, man! The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Yeah, I have heard the word pettifoggery before. Yep, Goblet Slayer. He's about to raise his goblet in toast to us. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failings? Oh, I am aware. Naruhodo isn't, but I am. I say, Lord Van Zeeks, might be an idea to explain this baldy conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground, The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really quite very simple to understand. There it goes. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. Yeah, I enjoy that as well, Maddie. By George, count bullets? Oh, dear. He noticed then. See, Iris knew. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Council? Yes, sir? Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? 2. 2 bullets. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. See, this is what I was sort of talking about before. I don't remember exactly, but I feel like they mentioned that they had to do surgery in order to remove the bullet from him, which would establish a third bullet. Yeah. I don't remember precisely because it has been a bit, and like, oh hey, streamer curse. You're focusing on chat and talking and trying to sort of entertain at the same time. La-di-da-di-da. I'm not paying attention. But I feel like that's what happened. I feel like the bullet was in Sholmes. And I feel like the blood, like he might have shot one of them and like winged them or something. Which would establish the bullet, yeah. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. Evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, and indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. Oh shit. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these two brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that if a single bullet was fired from the brother's gun, it Mr. Sholmes, it means. Windybank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only one bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick, with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Order! 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 Lay forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. I mean, you gotta be careful with that. You might hit someone. Lord Van Zeeks! But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. Imagine if a weeb who played way too much Ace Attorney passed the bar. Have you ever seen any of those videos about actual attorneys either playing or watching like Ace Attorney games in practice? It's rather amusing seeing them just sort of like facepalm at the antics that are going on in the courtroom. Now, obviously, there are going to be differences because the Ace Attorney games are based on the Japanese legal system. And like a lot of the things that happen there, like while exaggerated, are intended as a parody of what happens sort of there. And there is an absolute lack of discovery. One of the people in chat, Kurobachi, has some legal experience, and it amuses me when he starts complaining in chat about all the stuff that they're sort of doing wrong. I love it. I think he's gone to bed now, unfortunately. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with loathsome intent. Yep. Just bring in evidence without sort of like checking with the judge, without informing the other side that the evidence exists. Nothing wrong here, boys. Nothing wrong here, girls. Nothing wrong here, people who are non-binary. It's just Ace Attorney. As we can see, beyond doubt in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. That disc! Have you gotten the blood test done on the disc yet? I don't think we have. I'll be taking that whatever it is up at Gilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine. It's rather entertaining, Maddie. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. Yes, that music box disc. McGilded's music box disc. Which blood samples did we have so far? Yeah, we had the calendar, that... what happened to the jacket? Why didn't we... Whatever. Yeah, I like the ding, 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 as everyone sort of like has their reaction. The jacket was, I suppose not relevant to this case. It's sort of like came up as purple, if I recall right. Okay. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake. Any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel, as a grim testament to the defendants. Lord Van Zeeks, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all. I am unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions, right from the top. Government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed. Bailiff? Alright. Entered into evidence. Metal disc used to play music in a mechanical music box. On the reverse side of it is a note that reads, "For McGilded." So we'll immediately examine that. The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and baseness of character. Okay. Oh, Bruno, look! This is blood! Yes, you're right. Just a small spear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Haha! Then it's my time to shine again! I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Bruno. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash! Green. Oh, a lovely bright shade again. Wait, that color. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? We have to wait for someone's fingertip. Well, juice, but not just somebody's fingertip. Mr. Benedict's fingertip. Man dressed all in white? Yes, it happened that afternoon in Windybanks. Gina tried to snatch this disc out of the man's hands, and the sharp little bumps cut his thumb. Lesson is, someone tries to grab a music box disc from you, let go quickly. Lesson is, don't snatch things, surely. If I finally got our answer for who that blood belongs to. I was wondering when that guy would show up, Mr. Eggs Benedict. We got this before, didn't we? Former Gilder, that's the man you defended in court a couple of months ago, isn't it, Bruno? Yes, or rather, mistakenly defended. I wonder what his name is doing on the back of this disc. That's a question I'd love to know the answer to myself. Okay. So, we've got unknown and unknown, but we do actually know who it belongs to. It belongs to Mr. Eggs Benedict over here. So obviously he was there at the time. And he was the one who got shot with the gun. And also means that he could have had a gun as well, who knows. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. We speak up now. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes. Dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Bruno. My lord. Wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up till now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden, answer's boldly obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Hurry up and speak up about the blood. Otherwise you'll have to go through another summation thing. Speak up, man. Very well. The court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Again, I like how he hits his head on the damn thing. Senile old man. We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. Oh. Then you have eliminated the impossible. Whatever remains must be the truth. Oh hey, you're pulling a Sherlock. That's my line! I wrote that! For Hurley! Ugh! How dare he use it against us? His hands seem to remain sterile. That's true, he's got to do another operation to remove a scalpel from his patient. Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. Still more to this case than we realize. There must be. There's one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Garadeb Squadron, primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Alright. However, I think that's as good a time as any to wrap up for the night. We're getting close to midnight my time, and want to sort of like leave myself sort of too exhausted or anything like that. So I'm going to wrap things up here, and we will be continuing this on Monday. So hopefully I'll be able to see people there for that. Tomorrow there's going to be no stream. Yeah, the summation examinations are really good. I'm really glad that they've sort of that's a really nice new mechanic, I have to say. It reminds me a little bit of the jury scenes in Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, which I also quite enjoyed. So I wouldn't be surprised if they sort of do more of that, considering when those games were made. But yeah, I like those. They're fun, even if they make no sense for sort of real lore or anything like that. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be a day off. Saturday is going to be a Resident Evil 6 stream in celebration of Spooky October with Marshall Banana. We're going to be playing co-op. I've had the game described to me as Michael Bay meets zombies, so I'm looking forward to playing a bad game for once. I'm hoping it's so bad it's good, to be honest. I'm hoping for that rather than so bad it's horrible. And Sunday we'll be doing Mass Effect. Those will be at 9 p.m. and 8 p.m. respectively. Monday will be Great Ace. Tuesday and Wednesday 1 p.m. for Library of Ruiner. And yeah, Thursday will be more of a Great Ace. Yeah. Oh, and thank you very much for following, Maddie. I do appreciate that. Welcome to the Fox Shrine. Looking forward to seeing you again. But yeah, I'm going to go raid Old Man Craven right now, who is playing some RimWorld. And he's a nice old guy. He's got some decent sort of stories. I like seeing his sort of stuff. So I'm going to go pop in and say hello to him, I think. All right? Thank you very much. And I hope to see you all next time, all right? See ya!